The question came out of nowhere, tossed lightly into the air like it didn't carry any weight. "Are you good in bed?" she joked, her lips curving into a teasing smile as she stirred her coffee. The cafe was warm, crowded with the quiet hum of late-evening conversations, but somehow everything around me faded for a second. I looked at her, really looked at her, trying to figure out if she meant it, or if it was just another one of her playful remarks. I could have laughed it off. I could have said something clever, something confident, something that would have matched her tone. Instead, I paused. I looked at her and said, "I don't know." She blinked, surprised, then laughed softly. "That's not the answer people usually give." "I know," I said, a faint smile tugging at my lips. "But it's the honest one." She tilted her head, studying me now, her playful energy shifting into something quieter, more curious. "So what kind of answer is that?" "The kind that comes from someone who doesn't think." "That's the right question." She leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms, still smiling but differently now. "Okay, so what is the right question?" I glanced down at my hands for a moment, then back at her. "Maybe, are you the kind of person who makes someone feel safe enough to even care about that?" For the first time since I'd met her, she didn't have a quick response. Her name was Elena. I had met her 2 weeks earlier at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was the kind of person who lit up a room without trying. Confident, sharp, effortlessly charming. People gravitated toward her and she knew it. But there was something else too, something quieter underneath all that brightness. I had noticed it in the way her smile sometimes lingered just a second too long, like she was covering something up. That night at the party, she had been the one to start the conversation. She'd teased me about standing near the edge of the room, drink in hand, observing instead of participating. "You always this mysterious, or is tonight special?" she had asked. "I think I just like watching people," I had replied. "And what do you see when you watch me?" she had said, stepping closer. I had hesitated then too, not because I didn't have an answer, but because I wasn't sure she wanted the real one. "I see someone who doesn't like being alone," I said quietly. For a split second, something in her expression flickered. Then it was gone, replaced by that same confident smile. "You're interesting," she had said. "Most people don't say things like that to me." "Most people probably don't mean them," I replied. She had laughed then, but she didn't walk away. And now, sitting across from me in the cafe, I could see that same flicker again. "You really believe that?" she asked softly. "That feeling safe matters more than everything else?" "I think it's the only thing that makes everything else matter," I said. She looked down at her coffee, tracing the rim of the cup with her finger. The teasing energy from earlier was gone now, replaced by something more vulnerable. "That's not how most of my relationships have worked," she admitted. "I figured." She looked up quickly. "Oh? And what made you think that?" "Because you asked that question like it was a joke," I said. But it didn't sound like one. Silence settled between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It felt like something was shifting, something real finally pushing past the surface. "You're different," she said after a while. "So are you," I replied. She shook her head slightly. "No, I think I've just been pretending not to be." Her voice was softer now, almost fragile. "I've spent so much time thinking that if I was fun enough, confident enough, attractive enough, people would stay," she continued. "And for a while they do. But it never lasts." I didn't interrupt her. "They like the version of me that's easy," she said. "The one that doesn't ask for too much. The one that doesn't need anything real." "And what about the version that does?" I asked gently. She swallowed, her eyes glistening slightly under the warm cafe lights. "They leave." The word hung in the air, heavier than anything she had said before. I leaned forward slightly, not too close, just enough for her to know I was there. "Maybe they weren't leaving you," I said quietly. "Maybe they were leaving the moment things became real. And that's not the same thing." She looked at me, searching my face like she was trying to decide whether to believe me. "You make it sound simple," she said. "It's not," I replied. "It's actually really hard. Being real with someone, it's probably the hardest thing there is." She let out a small, shaky laugh. "And you're good at it?" "No," I said honestly. "I'm just trying to be." For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she leaned back, exhaling slowly. "You know, when I asked that question, I thought you'd give me some confident, cocky answer. Something that would make me laugh. I know. But instead you made me feel seen," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know what to say to that. So I just stayed there with her, letting the moment exist without trying to fix it or change it. After a while, she smiled again. Not the bright, effortless smile from before, but something softer, more real. "Can I ask you something else?" she said. Of course. Why didn't you just play along? It would have been easier. I thought about it for a second. Because I've spent too much time being the version of myself that people expect, I said. And it never leads anywhere worth staying in. She nodded slowly, like she understood that more than she wanted to admit. I think I'm tired of that too, she said. Then don't do it anymore. She laughed lightly. You make it sound so easy again. It's not easy, I said, but it's worth it. We sat there for a while longer, talking about things that actually mattered. Not surface-level questions or playful teasing, but the kind of conversations that reveal who someone really is. She told me about her past relationships, about how she always felt like she had to perform, to be enough in ways that never felt authentic. I told her about my own struggles, about learning to stop chasing connections that were built on expectations instead of honesty. Somewhere along the way, the cafe started to empty out. The noise faded, the lights dimmed slightly, and it felt like we were the only two people left in the world. When we finally stood up to leave, there was a quiet understanding between us. Outside, the air was cool, the kind that makes you more aware of your surroundings, of the moment you're in. We stood there for a second, neither of us in a hurry to walk away. So, she said, a small smile returning. I guess I never got my answer. I raised an eyebrow. About what? She laughed softly. You know, my original question. I stepped a little closer, not too much, just enough. I think you did, I said. She looked at me, confused for a second, then something clicked. Oh, she whispered. There was a different kind of silence now. Not uncertain, not heavy, just full. I think I've been asking the wrong questions for a long time, she admitted. Most people do. She smiled again, and this time it reached her eyes. Thank you, she said. For what? For not giving me the answer I expected. I shook my head slightly. You deserved a better one. She hesitated, then took a small step closer. Not rushing, not forcing anything, just closing the distance enough to change everything. I think I'd like to try something different this time, she said. What's that? Not pretending, she replied. I nodded. I'd like that too. And in that moment, nothing dramatic happened. No grand gestures, no perfect cinematic ending. Just two people standing there choosing honesty over performance, choosing something real. And somehow that felt like the beginning of everything.